Forest Studio, everyone. Well, no, I mean, London, of course, they're coming with so much synergy and cohesion. It's going to be tough for the revamped Vegas Eternal to, actually take him down. They are not the favorite heading into this one, but surely someone out there is going to believe. Is it Lemon, Kiwi, and Necra? Is this the last chance for the Vegas Eternal? No one, no, okay. No takers.
Got close.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
that sound was
Vegas.
That's a tough sell. Unfortunately, I'm with the desk on this one. Spitfire, they've looked so good on the Reinhardt rush that it's hard for me to feel like any team can hold a candle to this unless they are the top of the top, cream of the crop, Sombra Tracer dive compositions, top 4 teams right now. I think London Spitfire finally figured out how they want to try to approach this meta and just force the Reinhardt. It's working. Don't change that.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, which would be the same advice we would give to the Vegas Eternal yesterday, where a lot of people had questions on the substitutions, right? You had Finale and Knife starting. You got that 2-0. You thought it was going to be a sweep. Vegas Eternal looked amazing. Then they started changing these pieces around. But something that, like, on the London side of things, what they should not change, sticking to the rush, because they've talked about in the interviews how the dive has not been working out for them. And, well, the stats speak for themselves.
Oh, this is brutal. I mean, Hottie was playing the Winston in the first week of series that the London Spitfire played. And as they even had said in the interview, the desk brought this up again. London Spitfire, if they're not getting the wins on the Winston, they don't want to play the Winston. They'd even tried that in one of their most recent series last week, and that also didn't work. They ended up trying the Winston dive. That was the one map that they actually ended up losing in that series, and so I would kind of expect them to not do that again. And that was against the Los Angeles Valiant, by the way.
Yeah, the main things in the main numbers I was noticing is a bit higher deaths from Hottie, less elimination, still good damage, but London have said in the interviews, it's just the entirety of the team. We center this on Hottie, sure, but it's the entirety of the team that are not comfortable on the comp, and they've just almost given that up in the last series for London. They've just only played the rush. Now, this map set will be interesting because there's a lot of dive-oriented maps. Numbani, Gibraltar especially, are maps that you almost need to play dive, and we'll see if London opt for that at all.
Well, that's the big thing that London Spitfire can have a comeback on. London Spitfire actually played the first 2 maps of this map set against New York Excelsior, trying to run a bit more of the Winston dive and losing those maps and eventually the series. So let's see if they can actually end up getting a comeback here, see if they force the rush. They have been forcing the rush in some of those other maps, looking at Gibraltar, forcing the Reinhardt Sim versus San Francisco Shock. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if London Spitfire want to continue on the Reinhardt rush for any of these maps, despite whether or not the map architecture ends up playing towards that. Yeah. So it's on the Vegas Eternal to make their own adjustments against what they expect to come out from London.
And unboom themselves from being reverse swept. And this was the game 5 Busan that they lost on, which crushed them. But it was the Finale Knife combo, the one that started well but didn't end well for them on Busan. But when it comes to having these 2 DPS duos, Empress is very confident in these substitutions and what players play on what maps and what compositions they want to run, which when you see Dove, it's the Somber. When Finale and Knife, it's only death for the other teams on the other side. We'll see if Vegas can have a good start the way they did before, but charging on in is Hottie, while Sparker is slept. At least Hottie will be a good distraction. Even while he's low, he's chewing gum, he's chilling, he's on the point, and Vegas ain't contesting.
Ooh, Knife gets a nice pick onto Landon, though. Without that main source of healing, London Spitfire might have to consider just backing away to be in Landon's LOS once he ends up getting back. But that's not going to stop somebody on Vegas to try to flip the point.
Oh, Knife, that shot into Admiral. And when it comes to Knife and Finale, they actually have very similar hero pools. They're both very proficient tracers. I'm actually surprised to see Knife on the tracer because that's what he was carrying on yesterday as Vegas take back the point. Finale mainly played tracer for his previous team of, Poker Face. And that was his specialty, and having to trade that back and forth with Knife is probably what caused a lot of instability for Vegas.
Vegas look like they're pretty stable right now on the Hanzo, though. Take a look at the Dragon Strike already coming out.
Splits up London just for a second, maybe brings out the immortality there of Landon. Vegas just respecting that space. 2U backing away at hack health. London charge on in. Landon deals with the flankers, so London can focus on the front. Hadi, even while his healers were occupado, didn't even drop too far down in health. Speaking of which, 2U is now having a blizzard thrown at him. Unnecessary, but I respect it. Vegas lose the point.
Blizzard's okay. There's a lot of mobility on Vegas Eternal to try to just get away from the Blizzard overall, or you expect that maybe the rally's going to be coming up soon, so go ahead, throw it in there, and that way the Tech rally can be used for something else. But London still have a ton to work with. And Backbone, no fear! This man has
4v5.
no fear against the Hanzo.
And 4v5, like Vegas pulled the trigger, also nanoing 2U, and with the annihilation, it did get London pretty low, and as London disengaged to the point, Vegas were able to find the flank. Finale takes out Sparker, no DPS at all for London, who just want to die on the point, extend what they have, which is about 60-ish%, and Vegas win the fight to take it back.
Nice stuff coming out from Finale there. We've already sung some of his praises coming back into the Overwatch League on the Vegas Eternal, and now getting a chance to see his Tracer work in action once again. Finale was such a bright spot for Vegas in their match yesterday. So getting a chance to see the Tracer here working in tandem with some of the more frontline pressure coming out from 2U. Finale with the pulse bomb too. Watch out.
Oh, right into the face of a Deadeye. Finale has no fear. The immortality didn't come out fast enough for Landon to negate that pulse bomb in Vegas as they rushed on in from the front when the flank was secure from Finale. 2U took too much blunt damage, and now you don't have a tank for Vegas, which is just open season for Hadi. Of course, Vegas tries to slow down the push using a Dragon Strike, and Finale is still behind them, and London just tried to play this from front to back, but Finale gets another 3K in this fight to quite literally carry Vegas to another fight win.
This is now one fight away from Vegas taking the first round in this map. Backbone gets a chance to come back with a Blizzard, but it's going to be tough to land that onto the entirety of Vegas Eternal. You're going to want to see if you can get that onto the Ramatra. Make sure you lock that down so the front line can evaporate, but it's going to be the amplification matrix from Landon to push everybody back.
Forces Vegas back to the point. Finale, how is London going to keep this Tracer in check? The pulse is ready, throws it at the speed of that Hanzo. Sparker did take some splash damage, has to be careful. Blizzard there from Backbone just to secure that real estate for London. 2U steps up, he's nano though, so damage mitigation helps him survive. He, well, wakes back up on his 2 feet with the annihilation, steps forward, and nobody from London wants to smoke, so Vegas Eternal will be taking downtown.
Great first round here for Vegas. This is how they kicked off their series yesterday. Just asserting some dominance on the control points, and Vegas looked very in sync for this Ramatra composition, allowing Finale to just operate in the backline of the London Spitfire, and Knife also getting some nice arrows down to help Finale get the cleanup. We're heading over to Mecha Base, where London Spitfire's composition becomes even more potent, with the movable walls, as well as just all of these close quarters fights by the spawn rooms, where London Spitfire can start to hold the door. So if London get control of this point first, it's going to be tough for Vegas to come back into this one without getting a first pick.
I feel like it's so underrated to talk about the pieces of Vegas Eternal, like 2U coming from SPG, which was a top team and had a huge showing in knockouts. Finale from Poker Face, the former Owl team that was trying to get redemption. Same thing with Knife from the successful O2 Blast roster. Now you got a Bastion London comp. Were Vegas Eternal expecting this? I don't think I was. So Vegas at least use the May wall, use the Ramatra wall well to see if Vegas Eternal can approach. But now the best time to engage that Bastion comp is when he's out of that turret form. So Backbone has to play his life carefully, but Vegas are already up by 1.
Ooh, Admiral going down means that there's no mobility for London, and that's going to be Vegas's move to capitalize on this.
Yeah, Vegas at that first pick and then started to surround London and choke them out before Backbone's cooldowns could come back up. So good hold by Vegas. Does this Bastion stick? It does.
It's gonna be tough to make this work unless you can Symmetra teleport behind the Vegas Eternal, get it set back up onto more opposing high ground. There isn't a whole lot of pressure onto the Bastion unless it's gonna be Knife, just with a nice volley of storm arrows at that.
There was the Matrix from Irony to stop that push from London, like you pointed out, using the Symmetra TP to ease those rotations. And Jake talked about how good this composition, well, minus the Bastion is, from the desk. London try to close the gap. Vegas, the damage to push them away seems to be working out. London tried to kind of dance around the Ant Matrix well. London, as they backed away, were able to punish the recontest, the counterattack from Vegas. So Vegas will give up the point at about 50-ish%, and London being able to defend with this comp is big.
Oh, that's huge too when you get the stagger onto Knife as the rest of Vegas Eternal come back into this one. It's a great way for London Spitfire to start matching the percentage of Vegas. It's just one step in the right direction. The rest of Vegas have to back off from this one, but the nice engagement tools they have available with the Dragon Strike, the Blizzard, so helpful to move the Spitfire back. Spitfire need to hold on to those mobility cooldowns with the speed from Admiral as well as that teleporter.
Ryan,
careful.
Hottie TP'd right in front of Vegas to try and get a shatter and TP'd right back. He noped out of that situation, probably because of the Dragon Strike of Knife, and there's a shatter opportunity. Pins Finale out of the immortality range, and London have even more tools, but they know they don't have to use it unless Rack Attack feels it's winnable and brings out the sound barrier. 2U needs the TLC. Rack Attack pulls out the barrier, and London pull out of the fight. They just TP back. And Vegas don't get the tempo engage they were looking for. Now the Bastion ult to make the backline uncomfortable there of Vegas, especially maybe while the immortality is out. Vegas have to fight their way back, but trying to chase London around because of the Sim TP is difficult. Blizzard plays right on the point. You know that's where London were going to recontest as Vegas were flipping the point. Photon barrier. London using all the weapons in their arsenal, and Vegas are chunked down one by one as London will win the fight and go up 70+%.
These symmetric teleporters have been so good for London Spitfire to just kite away from all of the damage Vegas are throwing at this point. And look at how far Backbone gets a chance to just get set up in Wheels mode too.
I like the Wheels mode.
Look at that. Teleporter is so nice to get the high ground.
Yeah, London TP back up there, force Vegas down to the ground. Irony tries to defend them with the Ant Matrix, forces London in Mega Room. And Vegas also flipped the point. So as long as you support 2U, he can keep this London rush at bay. Backbone's taking an off angle, but can't stray too far away. He's down to 1 HP, gets the healing from Landon. Oh, he's finished off by 2U, advances onto the backline while Hottie repositioned away. Wasn't on the same memo about where London were going to escape to, which half of them went underground.
It got so split up there that it was easy for Vegas to get the pick off, and now 2U is going to have an annihilation pretty soon. Backbone is also still sticking to the Bastion, so a lot of confidence being put into this composition, where you wouldn't expect the Bastion to continue to work, except there's the Symmetric Teleporter again.
Yeah, Hottie holding shield while Backbone uses the Ant Matrix in turret form, and 2U drops on top of that with the annihilation. Hottie trying to put him to bed, and it works out. Rack Attack sound barrier, not so much. Last fight for the London Spitfire. They don't have their Bastion. It'll be up to Sparker to generate DPS, but Knife strikes him down, cuts through the hearts of London, and it's a 3 versus 1. But coming back from spawn is Backbone for one last touch. 2U also on the Doomfist. You see Vegas just have to wait for overtime to drain, but up above, Backbone doesn't touch in time. He's frustrated with that, and map number 1 goes to Vegas.
So London Spitfire not able to get their revenge onto this map that they had lost to the New York Excelsior earlier on in the stage. And Vegas getting revenge of their own. This is looking up to be an interesting series so far. I know it's just the first map. We have a very small sample size to pull from, but Vegas have been able to clutch up in these moments, and Finale and Knife looking mighty unstoppable right now.
So did Knife, bringing out the Hanzo, making Finale usually only plays Tracer for this team when Knife wants to be on Hanzo or Echo. This was the setup that Empress intended. Knife on that high ground downtown controlled the really the entire mid-fight, or just the middle of the map, where London didn't have anyone to really contest Knife, so they had to play everyone else. And then Vegas used their ults well, the annihilation towards the point, and were forcing London back time and time again. And Vegas adapted well against the Bastion comp, using the Mei wall defensively, using the Ramattra wall defensively, and cycling those well enough to close the gap against Backbone.
That was so tough for Backbone to feel comfortable to just sit down and rain that damage onto the Vegas Eternal. And I would love to see them kind of keep up that pressure, as it's always kind of that tale old of Ramacho versus Reinhardt. Does London Spitfire now want to continue to play the Reinhardt rush? Are they still confident in that? I really can't wait to find out.
And Umbati's going to be a tough one. We've seen all types of teams pull out the Reinhardt. I mean, even the Justice bringing out Ben Best. So, see if the London Rush will stick. What other flavors of Rush will they bring out? We'll find out after the break. Oh my goodness. London losing the rush battle against Vegas? Could it be? It happened on map 1 if you witnessed it. What a time we've had. And even London just tweeted, we might have cooked a bit too much, especially with the Bastion Cup.
I gotta agree with that one. After the Bastion wasn't working anymore from Backbone on Mecha Base, I would have liked to have seen a swap there. Backbone's Mei was so impressive on downtown, despite the fact that Vegas was still able to focus it down. Mei is still one of Backbone's best heroes. And maybe sometimes you do have to risk it for the biscuit a little bit, but did you ever expect to see the rush coming out from Vegas?
I wasn't sure. Like, Tuya was really known for his rush back in APAC on his team, on his former team, and he's even innovated towards playing Zarya and things like that when he was on SPG. But Tuya, the way he was supported by his team, like, you wanted to highlight the supports. Like, all the nanos went towards Tuya, Annihilation when London didn't have any space to work with on downtown. So the way that Tuya cycled his shield plus the Mei wall of his teammate to take the brunt force damage of the Bastion allowed them to close the gap, and once Backbone was out of turret form, that's when Vegas folded them.
That's why I loved the Lucio and the Baptiste choice coming out from Rack Attack and Irony, respectively. Lucio to speed around so that the teleporters really didn't catch them off guard. You had the speed available just to be able to kite away. And then the Immortality fields. So smart from Irony to be able to make sure that everybody on the front line could stay topped up, especially when it comes down to the Hanzo being such a big key to success to chunk down the Bastion and also the Reinhardt shield.
Yeah, Hadi lost out on a lot of damage against 2U, of course. 2U hit like 10k on Busan because Hadi also had to hold shield just for this Backbone turret to pop off. And when it didn't, they were just left with the only options of sim TPing around. And speaking of that sim TP, is that going to be the flavor of Rush that London want to use on Numbani? These are some tough high grounds to get to, and the sim TP alleviates some of those rotational issues. And teams have tried the Reinhardt cheese on attack, especially on the point.
I think it could work. When we look at how Numbani was approached by the London Spitfire in their match versus New York Excelsior, where they did lose that map, we saw the Cassidy or the Hanzo coming out from Sparker, and it was a bit more of like the Tracer and May from Backbone, but it was a Winston dive. London Spitfire are no strangers to forcing the Reinhardt rush on maps that you would not expect it on, like Gibraltar, for example. Or Circuit Royale. There's maps that we've seen from London where you just scratch your head and go, no way. You decided that Reinhardt was going to be the flavor that you wanted to get this map win on. But it looks like London are hovering over it now. But Vegas, they're not stressed. They're just going to stick to particularly meta composition on this map. There's the Echo Tracer dive.
If you're a Vegas fan, you definitely felt good about that map 1, but you're not going to be as confident until the series is over, because we all know how yesterday went. London are done goofing around. They're come out with their traditional rush with, usually it's Sparker that brings the flavor to the rush. This time it's on the Cassidy.
The Cassidy's nice here when you have the ability to get the shots onto the Echo. So smart from London to try to lock that in early, expecting that Finale's Echo could make an appearance here. And then Maywall too from Backbone. No more Bastion. I think we're done with that one for now. And London can also just force their way onto the point with brute force without the Symmetra.
It was a good Maywall from Backbone because Sparker got antied and was very low, and London just can't afford to lose anyone. This Finale was looming above and has already almost generated a dupe. That's just the joy of having splash damage from those stickies. So they'll be maybe grabbing that Mega on Coast, but can Vegas recontest? They'll have some support on the high ground. One last punch, and a two-man anti hits London. Here's the dupe from Finale on the Rhine, sent right back to spawn, and London get the point on their first fight.
Easy peasy. And you also got the Echo duplicate out of the way. And a couple of support swaps coming through just to be able to make it back, but that's it for the Echo. Finale had his number completely locked down by Sparker's Cassidy, and at least the May gives you a bit more of a fighting chance with the Ramatra, and we just saw how nicely this all worked together for Vegas on our very first map of Busan. The May walls just isolate somebody on London. Knife is getting a chance to show off on the Hanzo once again too. And this is a strong look from Vegas, hoping to get their defense under lock.
Like that Maywall from Backbone to deny the mini pack room there. That's where Knife could be on this off angle. And now, speaking of angles, London only have to focus on looking forward and playing from front to back. Good isolation on the 2U. Defensive wall from Finale to stop the follow-up. Any potential follow-up from London. Meanwhile, you have Finale on an off angle. Has to be careful. Took a headshot. Almost died. As Backroom gets into position to throw a Blizzard, but he ideally wants to throw it as the card is as deep as it is into point B. So you might force like a sort of C9 for Vegas. Either way, it's the Nano onto 2U. Didn't have the Annihilation, but just wanted to get some real estate back, but he walks right into the Blizzard, and the shield from Hadi to stop the heals was so smart. London had this whole fight calculated. They even threw the barrier on top as insurance. That's 5.5 minutes for C.
That's so much time to work with. And it's been smooth sailing for London as Irony and Knife, they've got to go for the manual reset to get back to the rest of their team. Hottie is just having so much fun on the Reinhardt right now. I mean, how else do you get a chance to square up against a Ramatra? Especially, I love the call out that you made with just the shield to be able to block the heals onto Tuyu. It was so impressive, and that's what you come to expect from a Reinhardt that's as proficient as Hottie. Now, London Spitfire, I feel like they're in top form here.
Oh, so was Knife.
Yeah.
Like, where did that guy come from? Knife able to turn that around, and speaking of that, just Backbone generating that Blizzard so quickly and so early is what got London point B. So Vegas hoping to surprise them with their own Blizzard, either dropping behind them or at least having the high ground. But the Dragon Strike to try and deny this high ground splits up London, but it's not really an area that Vegas want to fight into, you know, just looking at where they're set up and the fact that Tuyu is the only one there.
This is still going to be a quick recon test for London Spitfire. Look at how they're wrapping around. How he's just going to go ahead and charge with the rest of them as they go behind the cart.
Backbone's now also on the flank. I don't know what's... London's rotations are so fun to watch. They make you itch your head like, what is he doing there? Hottie is now after your backline. Immortality buys Irony some time. The Blizzard from Finale was just almost too late, but somehow saves the team. Finale catches London in the trap, who just tried to circle around their prey, and it's London that reset.
London with another reset, but they did get 3 critical ultimates out of Vegas Eternal. But the big one that London have struggled with is Tuyu's Annihilation. And what's this?
Lifeweaver?
Really? Lifeweaver from Vegas. That is incredibly
cooking
interesting.
more?
I think it's Vegas right now, but I like seeing this from Attack. He's usually kind of stuck in brick jail right now, so maybe the Lifeweaver is going to be something London Spitfire aren't expecting.
Oh, doesn't have enough heals to keep Tuyu alive, though. The Immortality buys Tuyu a chance, but right on the edge of the Blizzard, Tuyu. Oh, he's frozen. And we might not even get to see the potential of the Lifeweaver as London have a Dragon Strike. They can seal up one of these doors, and will there be anyone to touch? Vegas are not swapping to Lucio. It's Finale's Tracer. Off the wrong door.
Can't get it.
Yeah, 3 minutes for London.
Hottie just goes Weaver.
Okay, hear me out. Let me cook with my theory on Lifeweaver.
Sure. Be my guest.
I've been saved by non-trolling Lifeweavers because you can grip and pull someone out of dangerous situations if Hottie's gonna approach you on the Rhine. You know, vertically, London, it's Rush in general struggles, and you can use that elevator to kind of lift someone up if Hottie's coming towards them, which we saw Attack and Irony just get rushed on by Hottie. So instead of pulling out the Immortality field, they'll just go to heaven themselves.
That's a fair take to make. That is a very fair take to make. Unfortunately, it didn't play out the way that Vegas Eternal would have liked it to. But if you're going to try and have to whittle away a 5-minute time bank and see, sometimes it does require a little bit of a Hail Mary to be able to get that done, especially on that 3rd point. But let's watch the Attack Lifeweaver here. Tried. Oh, the card. Tried the card. Oh, he got bogged by the card. Oh, no.
That's just like right of the edge of the cart too, and that's exactly what the Lifeweaver was supposed to do. Maybe they had calculated the Blizzard was gonna come out, so they were like, play aggro and I'll pull you out, bro, and did not happen.
That's always a calculated risk. I really appreciate Attack going for that, just to be also give Lifeweaver a bit of play time right there, but cart diff, sadly.
Cart diff.
Now Vegas to get a chance to use his Echo on the attack. I love the Mercy Pocket as well to be able to boost up some of that damage from Finale. Then make it easier to chunk through the Mei walls as well. And
ooh,
oh, nice.
The rotation.
Nice flanks coming through.
Yeah, and the fact that also the damage boost of the Mercy, but it also allows Finale to go on more wider angles on these flanks, as you said, and have a more consistent source of healing without having to depend on health packs. Vegas still have to find some headway. Tuyu tried to jump top right, and I think got booped away by Admiral, and you have Backbone, who, as he said in an interview, when he was a, quote, Hanzo OTP, it made him a better Mei, and that shows exactly why.
You got a pretty different, like a pretty similar projectile speed there for the Hanzo and the Mei, so definitely plays a big role and also gives you a lot of understanding where Knife is going to want to take those angles. So it's going to be a great tool for London to work with, as that's another reset. You can't go in without your Ana, and you also can't go in without that game plan. I guess gonna get some ultimates coming up though soon. Looking at Finale's duplicate, especially with the Mercy, that's so much damage, and also just a great way to be able to bolster up that Echo's attack.
And the way that Backbone plays on this left side and not stacked on his team, there's different angles of fire, of threat coming out of London. So will Vegas maybe take advantage of having Finale go to that coast side, harass Backbone, and then engage through main in this hopefully synchronized approach? It's going to be hard for Vegas to find which target to engage on, but it's 2U that gets Nano. That'll give him the extra sustain. Goes right after Sparker, who's just full-pocketed by his backline. 2U realizes this, doesn't even want to overstay his welcome, jumps back towards the point as Hottie fights for that space right back. The Ant Matrix from Landon's going to help out too. Vegas, though, rotate nicely on the high ground and then come up from behind. And then the Dragon Strike just pincers London as they thought they had a chance to recontest. Some really beautiful rotations out of Vegas.
It's been so nice to see this, and Knife just kind of constantly catching London Spitfire by surprise. That's why you saw London give a lot of respect and focus onto Knife's Hanzo in particular, taking a look at Numbani's attack for them. But now Vegas get that card unlocked. They're gonna start on... Oh, wait, what's this? London being sneaky again.
The amount of times I've said, what is this series? Immeasurable. Now you got a shatter from Hottie, 2U on the ground, but he has Primal and he's half health, so he doesn't even need to pop it. He's really trusting these crack attack heals with the Valkyrie too. He can heal multiple people. Counter shatter, blocked by the Backbone ice block. And London, they're able to get out of the house, but as Hottie was exposed out in the open, Vegas Eternals surrounded him, and Vegas will start some progress on the card.
That close hold is nice for London, though, because now you get a chance to have another recontest possibility on the Streets phase. Backbone is also going to be switching over to the Sombra here, and so it's Cassidy, Sombra in the DPS lineup versus the Hanzo and the Mei. And now, great way to deal with the Echo. Hack Finale, get him out of the skies, take him down, and Rack Attack also very vulnerable to that.
That's interesting to catch the Mercy like that. Yeah, the hack must have brought Rack Attack down to the ground. Rack Attack, but he also dies sometimes, and you can catch that Mercy out. Finale is next on the hit list. Everyone from Vegas in the Death Note, and London get to hold close with this rush, which is going to favor them a lot.
Yeah, that's why that close hold is so nice, and now you get a chance to use the defensive corner for the cart. And we're going to see Vegas now make some more adjustments to their composition. No longer want to go with the Winston. They want to try to match rush for rush. It's going to be a full swap here from the back line of the Vegas Eternal to the Brig and the Bab. Worked out nicely for them. Where did Backbone go?
Just testing out gravity.
Bruh.
I need the replay for that.
I need that.
Vegas are trying to ignore the shield of Hottie by just simply being above them. But Hottie pushes forward. Deadeye also doesn't catch anyone. Sometimes you can cheese that with the speed of Lucio just to out-rotate them. Now the re-engage from London with the sound barrier, holding this corner strong. But London are starting to get overwhelmed. They've already fallen back to the health pack room. Pulse from Finale, a little bit of splash onto London. Oh, now you're in a tiny room with the annihilation of 2U, who has some healing, had to fall back a bit into the immortality. But 2U versus Hottie, and it's 2U that wins.
Oh, Backbone gets a chance to stagger a little bit with the wall. Unfortunately, ends up going over the top as Ramatra ends up gunning him down. Oh, but Backbone, here's the...
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Slippery.
what I thought.
Hate when that happens.
Listen, sometimes that's how you have to nerf Backbone a little bit. Is make him fall to the geometry of the map, right?
Someone has to touch. Hottie's shield is about to break. He's getting healed there by Landon. And no, Landon stepped off a little too much. Hottie was just teasing us. And now he tries to pin back towards his team. Ice block from Backbone. He's screwed. And Vegas can now farm this up for ult charge. And they could avalanche this into point C.
They could, because look at how many ultimates are getting online. Another Dragon Strike from Knife is right around the corner. Finale has the Pulse Bomb. And this has just been such a strong engagement from Vegas. Every time they have the Dragon Strike online, it's not even just a zoning tool for them. They were able to get the London Spitfire caught between a Dragon Strike and 2U's Annihilation. I know that's not online right now, but Finale is going to get the stick.
That's the grand finale pulse, but negated by the immortality. Close call there by Irony. Rally to try and stop the follow-up of London off this blizzard. No one from Vegas frozen, and if they were, Vegas backline has their back.
That's another team fight win for Vegas. London have to start to come out on some of these panic picks. They don't exactly know how they want to approach this with the Dragon Strike on the left.
It's going to be a time bank disadvantage for Vegas nonetheless, but taking out Haughty is massive. Nothing protects the London team from contesting this anymore. So Vegas will cap. It'll be 309 versus 1 minute. A pretty significant difference there.
Vegas were still able to get themselves that second life, though, and London, they're struggling to close the distance on Vegas. I was wondering if this, I still have to put the whole thesis together, but London Spitfire have been forcing the Reinhardt rush so much that a lot of teams are now starting to have some preparation against this. And not even that, I know that there isn't another team that runs it like the London Spitfire do, but there are a lot of teams now that you can scrim against that have a strong Ramatra rush of their own. Yes, like you know, micro decisions and differences between the two compositions, but you are still able to get a really good feel about how to play against it when you're playing against a Ramatra rush too. There's been practice that these teams are able to put in, and you called out how 2U is very good on the Ramatra as well, and we can see that. That's something that absolutely plays a role.
Just how much healing 2U gets has been so important. Winning the 1v1 against Haughty when he popped Annihilation there on point B, to pushing Haughty off to force the, you know, not really C9, but London not being able to stop the point B cap, to then leading to Vegas punishing Haughty time and time again, trying to tank gap him, because in a rush composition without the Rhine, there's just nothing you can do, and you just have to run, because Vegas' comp is going to take all the space. So see if this rush will work out this time.
Reinhardt rush on the defense. I like that you can just kind of bully the stairs here. Like, take a look at the Mei wall. That helps.
Yeah, London read this top to left rotation from Vegas like a book and used the Mei wall well from Backbone to find these isolations. Backbone used Ice Block at the perfect moment to live throughout that, and Vegas didn't know whether to wait for the Ice Block of the Mei to kill everyone else around it, but Vegas, well, they lost a lot of people, then fought back even harder. The counterattack from 2U, I think he's killed 2 or 3 this fight, now 4, to get Vegas the point with only 1 minute.
1 minute, and that's going to be a lot of distance to work with. You already have 1 point of capture under the belt, and 2U is going to push forward knowing that the Annihilation is also coming up very soon for him. What a smart way for Vegas to be able to play around that Mei wall. Should have isolated up 2U at the very front, but they were still able to bully their way through, get past that, get the healing onto 2U to keep him up. And now you're going to see a bit of a switch up here as Sparker goes over to the Hanzo.
Just hoping to stay at a safe distance. That first pick potential is huge. So could this Dragon Strike, if London stay in these small rooms? Damn, Matrix from Irony was just enough for London to be scared into this room, but they're actually on the flank, and the Mei wall from Backbone splits up Vegas in half. 2U able to block well. Finale goes unnoticed. Shotter from 2U gets 3 on the ground, and that's what turns the fight for London. Essentially ends the road for Vegas on their attack, and yeah, there's no recontest, no counterattack. You never know with Vegas. They make miracles happen, but for the 1 minute that they have to get this far is still good for Vegas.
That's very good. You have already stemmed a lot of the pressure that London Spitfire and the time bank that they have to work with. If London don't get that first point capture right away, that could be a snowball effect that allows Vegas Eternal to get the map win overall and actually start to get match point. I hope they don't find themselves in a similar situation as yesterday, but you know what? Vegas are still putting on a great show, and if they can get even 1 team fight win under their belt so that London Spitfire don't capture right away, that's another step in the right direction.
Yeah, Vegas just being able to cap the point off to you, just being an absolute Chad. He's been a fun fact. He also played with his brother back in APAC, so it's like the synergy was there, and how well supported he is by people that I hope considers brothers with how much resources are dumped into him. But Hadi, the way he tries to juke around to you to get that three-man shatter, that's what broke open the fight. When you thought London were leaving, Hadi and friends actually re-emerged from the same door and caught Vegas completely off guard with that backbone Maywall too.
This is what London Spitfire like to do. They like to put the onus on themselves to kind of create their own environment for these fights. Whether it's going to be with the Maywall or even just Hadi getting a really risky pin onto somebody on the other team. London Spitfire have been able to use that to high success in these last few series, but they're cooking again. Lemon Kiwi, they're cooking again.
The Bastion, the glass cannon, the Maywall from Spark are used defensively, but how do you stop Tuyu and friends of Vegas from running into you? Well, Hadi will just be the human bulldozer, and they push Vegas. That might be the Admiral also hitting a boot. Vegas are all split from each other, and Knife isn't there, and that's a lot of DPS gone from Vegas. And London capping this immediately. Vegas would have hoped to shave off a little bit more time from this 3-minute timing that London started with, but oh boy, Sparker is in turret mode. Usually Backbone was on it. Sparker says get in the backpack, and that'll be the cap for London.
I like the Bastion on the attack much better in this position because Vegas had on the rush. You're able to lay that Bastion down in front of the Maywall that you could see coming out, and then all of a sudden you've just absolutely smashed your way through the ice block and everything else that Vegas is looking at relying upon for that sustainability. Immortality Field got absolutely blasted. Vegas got far spawns. Look at how far back to you are. They have to go in and touch one by one.
Rack attack, where's the rollout? Where's the rollout? London just sailed to the box of victory. The spawns were too far, and we have ourselves a tie series.
That's so rough. They got far spawns. That's so hard to work with.
I can't remember if there was a Tracer swap either. Did Vegas even change to Tracer? Either way.
They must have thought that they had more time than they did. And that Maywall from Backbone ended up just being the nail in the coffin there. They even stop anybody from getting back without the speed. Oh man.
Man, if we get to see Hadi and Tuyu on LAN, and last time I saw Hadi on LAN, it was the Summer Showdown where he was doing push-ups on the stage. Right? I gotta see the Tuyu versus Hadi push-up contest, please. But we'll see if Vegas, can they pull out their first win of the stage? That's probably the first goal before trying to get to LAN. But with the talent that Tuyu has, and how much they're making London sweat on this rush, this may just be the beginning of something good for Vegas despite dropping that map.
This has been super close so far in this series, and London Spitfire have even abandoned a lot of their original game plans, bringing the Bastion into the mix. It's going to be a lot more of those long-range hit scans on some of these future maps in the series. No sim yet as a part of this map on the push maps, but let's see what happens on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Oh, this is going to be so much harder to rotate to. This is the dive map, the highest of high grounds on Point B2. Will we see the London Symmetra? Are we cooking with the Bastion Lifeweaver? We have a tie series. We'll find out what happens after the break. our spit and fire, but Backbone comes back yawning. So is the competition boring? Does he need to be re-energized? Well, map 3 is coming up, and I know I'm hyped.
I've been so hyped. This match, I walked into it and I said, London Spitfire are going to get this 3-0, especially after how Vegas fumbled the bag yesterday versus the LA Valiant. It was hard not to see a world where London Spitfire would walk away with this with a convincing victory. But it hasn't been that at all in this series. It's been a close match between these two rush compositions, the Reinhardt or the Ramatra from either side. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next, because this next map in the series is not one that you would ever really expect to see the rush come out on. But Hottie on the Reinhardt as usual.
He's experienced a bit higher deaths than usual, but he was the one who turned that final fight, won London the game with the, or at least stopped the push from Vegas Eternal when that could have turned into a way further push than it was. That 3-man shatter when he juked them, when he got zoned out by an Ant Matrix, came back, hit the 3-man, and that's all she wrote. And, you know, London's calls off of Hottie. These are guys who've spent so much time together. They are friends outside of the game and in the game. Even Backbone giving up the Bastion to Sparker. They know how to humble themselves. They know when to play confident. I just love this team.
I love this team too. And there is something to be said about the power of friendship and how much it's able to push a team to get the job done. And we've seen this work for the London Spitfire so far, even forcing these compositions on maps that are just so untraditional for that to work. Circle Royale was the one I looked at and I went, there's no way.
Right.
Like, what are we doing on this map? But here they are, making it work and also inspiring other teams to go with something that's more comfortable for them. I love being able to see that out of the Florida Mayhem too. That's another team that just seems so bolstered up by someone's positivity in that maintain role. So I can't wait to see if it's more Reinhardt Ramatra.
Yeah, the Symmetra just helps these rotations so much, whether it's these power position high grounds that take forever to get to depending on where the staircase is, to the longer range maps like Circuit. The Symmetra is so pivotal to this, but Vegas have reacted very well. Like, Vegas won Busan off of just being able to not go cross-eyed looking at where London are TPing to, whether it was behind them, in front of them, to the side. Vegas communicated so well at knowing who to push into and where to take that fight.
That is something that these other teams that London have faced, such as the San Francisco Shock, have fallen vulnerable to, is those teleporter pushes. Vegas have the Bastion ready. Hottie's right at the door. What if they break the... Oh, that's so risky if they break the teleporter.
Well,
bye, Hottie.
Gonna punish them. This
Run away.
Revenge. Yeah, shield almost broke. Now, what are they doing? The count of how many questions I've asked is increased by 1. As London want to hold close against the Bastion comp, and here is the Life Weaver to just see if they can pull someone to the high ground. Back to safety. The Mayhem Backbone denies that. So Finale is almost pulled into the loving arms of London, who kills them. Great reaction by Backbone.
Backbone has been able to put a lot of walls up to just stop teams from being able to get to the point. Like, it's been a ton of teams that just have not been able to even contest in those final moments. But Vegas Eternal are sticking to this. The Bastion, what a nice way to be able to push the London Spitfire away, especially if Hottie gets a little bit too close and comfortable. There's the immortality field. He got so lucky.
The immortality from Landon was huge. That saved Hottie. That saved the fight. The Blizzard reaction was good. Vegas didn't die, and London had the heal, so this Blizzard wasn't something they could really follow up on. So Vegas are trying to leave, and the Sip Sparker just to go and kill Knife and Rack Attack. I wonder if that was to react to the pull. Either way, Life Weaver ult gave that extra healing to Chuyu, who needs all the healing he could get. Sparker tries to TP behind Rack Attack, doesn't go unnoticed, and Vegas just fight this from front to back while keeping their eyes on the flank, and they steamroll London.
I never thought I would see the day that we would see a Life Weaver ultimate in Overwatch League. So Rack Attack, thank you for that. That was really cool to see. Actually helped out Vegas Eternal a lot to be able to keep that teamfight going against London Spitfire. Now the cart has already made it past the car wash. Rack Attack is going to stick to this hero, and here comes the Bastional.
Maybe a bit. I think the Bastion groups a bit, which maybe that was intention to split up the Sim TP play from London. They're all frozen right now, but a well-timed sound barrier helps London live throughout that. Photon barrier didn't do much. Protected them, of course, but Vegas are fine with that. They disengage back to the server's side, where you're still not safe, because Hadi will pin in, close the gap. We're left with a 4v4, both Mays removed, nothing to enable to you. But this Rack Attack positioning on the high ground means he can grip the Bastion back to safety, and Backbone can only prevent that so many times.
Look at Hadi's shield too. It gets chunked down so much, or Hadi just has to look in one individual direction. He can't protect himself from all angles, so nice wrap around there from Irony to be able to finish the job. And London are struggling against the Bastion that they had brought out to dish against the Vegas Eternal. But now that you're working in the hangar, the Bastion's gonna struggle way more unless you want to use pedal platform, I guess, to put the Bastion up there. But Knife's gonna go ahead and switch over to the Hunt though.
As Raktak was hoping to set that up, he struck down, and Vegas are now getting rushed into, trying to use the Ant Matrix. See if they can punish London on their approach. So London being more measured as the Annihilation comes out from 2U, but he got stunned up and frozen from Backbone, so the Annihilation got little to no value. That's a good reaction from London, who are gonna hold close and even kill at range.
London finally getting a chance to get this defense together. All it took was Knife switching off the Bastion. That was it. That was the helping hand the Vegas Eternal was able to lend over there. But Knife had held on to a ton of that ultimate charge, trying to get the Dragon Strike up. That's been so impactful for Vegas to just kind of work off of. And oh, the Lifeweaver ultimate again. Let's see if this can work after you have to deal with Sparker's Dragon Strike.
Yeah, Vegas were stuck by that May wall, split up from their heels. 2U dropped to the ground, and Vegas should have all followed up with that, to be honest, but either way, just having a Dragon Strike moving through these chokes is just death.
Got to back up on that one and go again. Vegas still have 2 minutes to work with, and Ultimate's in the bank. Not really worried about them being able to get this card a little bit further, but it has been pushed all the way back to the doors. That is going to be distance now that Vegas Eternal are going to have to cover, and with Spitfire taking these fights so close.
Finale headshot Sparker, and now a responding Dragon Strike to punish London, who Hadi on the high ground pinned in to try and, well, take advantage of the split approach of Vegas, and London just get chunked down.
London have the sound barrier coming up though to be able to deal with the Blizzard, and that would be something that they would lack in terms of point presence, is that Blizzard is going to be thrown towards the doors of second. Still have the Lifeweaver ultimate too, so the sound barrier needs to come online and needs to come online fast.
Nally hasn't been forced to use Ice Block yet, so that's good. And now he wishes he did. The damage just too much, and since you're not running a Rhyme, there is no shield. You just have to be so quick to go to Ice Block. As Vegas are gonna struggle now to keep this top ship control. Knife is a bit stubborn at giving this up. Knows that London's gonna have a hard time getting up there. So Knife is left untouched and may be able to turn this fight. He already does. He's headshot Backbone. And Finale has a Blizzard. If Vegas push London's backs against the wall, this could be really valuable. But Knife showed himself a bit too much, and Hadi pins in, charges, swings for the fences. Finale is a bit late on the Blizzard. The Shatter will stop any follow-up, even if Hadi just gets killed by the Blizzard vanilla damage there. And Vegas are about to push the cart. London are doing their best to anchor it. And in this 4v3, Vegas know they want to disengage, but they don't want to go back to choke.
They can't go back to choke because it'll be easier for Sparker to keep them at bay with the Dragon Strike down main. Finale's gonna head over to the Tracer, try to get a flank around London. Gotta take out somebody on the DPS lineup, or even Landon just to remove that healing would be absolutely huge. But this is Vegas's last chance. They gotta touch the cart.
Rack Attack's in the wrong position, didn't get the right lift to the high ground, and Knife versus Sparker is a matchup that's important. Who is going to have that power position looking over the objective? And it's Sparker that wins for now. A 5v4 plus the Blizzard on top. Vegas, not the furthest to push is. 2U almost gets pulled away from the cart in overtime. He does jump back on. Rack Attack heals him back up. Has the ultimate to heal them up, but Tuyu dies. The immortality wasn't well timed. And Vegas are left in a 3v3, even with Irony on an off angle. It's tough for them to get the picks, especially with Finale gone. Vegas are gonna live for as long as they can, but this is simply just gonna be a stop for London short of point B.
Whew. Admiral didn't even have a sound barrier in that one.
You got leftover stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just get the quick picks. Sparker was really showing up on the Hanzo there. Knife didn't really get a chance to have as much impact as you would have expected with how much Knife showed us in the very first map of this series. It's because Sparker constantly had him on lock. Quick picks, good rotations. London Spitfire looking much better with this Reinhardt Rush composition on Gibraltar.
And you're seeing like the pros and cons of running that Life Weaver, right? You're able to pull someone, maybe save their life, which sometimes has been denied by Backbone's Maywall, like thinking back out of Spawn where Rack Attack kind of killed Knife there. Was more of Backbone's fault. And then Rack Attack maybe missing some elevator plays, not getting to the high ground, being just out of the fight for a few seconds is critical healing that Tuyu is missing, which may mean that Hottie wins the tank duel. And when you win the tank duel in a rush, you're more likely than not to win the fight after that. Then you had the Knife versus Sparker Hanzo matchup. I felt that was even, although Sparker popped off at the very end when it mattered. Vegas really fought for the high ground control, and it was shaky.
The Vegas backline is really interesting to me. The Life Weaver and the Baptiste, we haven't seen a whole lot of Life Weaver, so it's super tough to tell how Overwatch League teams actually want to try to play around this. But when you're running the Ramatra Rush, feels like the Life Weaver and the Baptiste don't have a whole lot of staying power with the rest of the team. You have to play so far back in order to get the pulls to work, as well as just the immortality fields landed in the right place. Otherwise, you can get caught out, despite the mobility that both the Life Weaver and the Baptiste have. Can't play so together.
TP? The Sim TP of Sparker was kind of troll there, but on the Hanzo, so he can easily go to that high ground, duel against Knife. Bit better one-shot potential. I thought it was going to come out of the Hanzo, but Knife has been able to charge up so well off the Rhine shield. He'll have the jump too, and since Knife has been caught out by Hottie just charging into him, the extra mobility from Sojourn may help him survive. London continue to be very creative with their rotations, trying to chase down Tuyu, gets gripped back to safety. The Maywall from Finale just kind of slows things down.
I like the distance that you can have with the Life Weaver and the Baptiste much better on the defense. You're able to play around blue box, this high ground above this first point, keep yourself safe from anything that London Spitfire would want to try to even approach you for. No Symmetra now that Sparker is going to stay on the Hanzo, and so a way to access even that high ground is tough.
Yeah, especially with Rack Attack, who's probably going to be positioned at the back of point A, can mainly pull maybe Finale or Tuyu back to safety, which has been a critical point of Vegas' strategy. As London, they're okay with forcing them off. London want to cap A, and Knife gets pulled back, and Matrix. Also, Knife is saved from the blizzard that was thrown, and Finale throws his too, and I don't see it. I'm not sure if it got canceled. Hard to tell with the Rack Attack ult, which one is the zone of influence. Either way, London in a 4v4 situation, taking out Knife is a good start, and they know with the limited damage, London could just push into them. But Vegas punished this well. Vegas went to server and actually outkilled London when they pushed into them.
Tuyu just feels so confident to play aggressive against Hottie. Usually with the Reinhardt and the Ramatra, what we've seen before is that Hottie's able to take the first kill, take the first swing, but Tuyu is really not pulling back any punches when it comes down to the Ramatra just kind of blasting past the shield of the Reinhardt. I mean, you've got Knife too, being able to pick off someone like Landon or Admiral in the back makes it way tougher for Hottie to actually get in there and have the healing necessary to keep him up.
Hottie has a shatter.
Does he drop down with this?
Yeah, he's just pinning right in. Thought he had an isolation off the Maywall. A lot of important cooldowns are gone. Matrix right at the corner there from Irony has London trapped into this corner. But as Knife went to show himself, just rambling fire strikes by Hottie. So London are pulling out ahead and being more measured with their approaches as Vegas Matrix wasn't enough damage to get any picks.
Irony's getting staggered. Gives London Spitfire a little bit of time to breathe now as the card finally gets rolling into second. They have about 3.5 minutes now to be able to reach that final checkpoint, get up in the series, and also get towards that match point. And Hadi still has the Earth Shatter to use. Didn't need it after he took out Knife by himself.
Well, screw you in particular. With that shot, I just did not want you to get out alive. And Vegas not running a Tracer too means that, well, they can't contest the card easily while taking a fight at a different location. So this has been free progress for London, who bring themselves within 1 fight territory of taking the map with 3 minutes to spare. It's a Blizzard from Backbone, and the Admiral Soundbeer on top so they can engage safely into Vegas. They pushed him to the corner. Someone has to touch the cart. 2U jumps over the Mei wall, barely dodging that isolation. Finale pressures Sparker back. The Lifeweaver ult does do some healing there for 2U to keep him sustained in that fight, but in response is an Ant Matrix from Landon. 2U still has his shield. He's gonna play this left side out of cover. Finale places a Blizzard, exposes himself to poke from the Hanzo, and there's only 2U to contest this card. He can't run too far away from the card. Someone has to go behind and touch. Irony wasn't there. And that'll be London that push to the box of victory and go to match point.
Reinhardt Rush remains supreme. When I take a look at the Ramatra coming in from 2U, it's still been so good, and Vegas have still made this really close. They've been coming out with some pocket picks we would not have expected to see on this map, like the Bastion from Knife, the Lifeweaver from Rack Attack. Maybe you gotta get a little bit tricky with it to be able to bring it up to the London Spitfire, but they've started to really figure out how they want to approach this, and London now just coming back into their own with this composition.
Yeah, you've noticed that the Lifeweaver ultimates haven't been impactful enough to help 2U win the tank war. Actually, since Lifeweaver has been used by Vegas, 2U has lost the tank duel against Hadi when otherwise Vegas were even, if not ahead, thinking back of how Numbani was broken down. Yeah, Matrixes have been really well placed though by Landon and Irony, but it's how many people have been able to use them that have made a difference in these fights. Vegas trying it to defend point A, which didn't work. Irony here didn't have his in time, 8% away, which might have made the difference when Landon had his first. But this has been kind of a roller coaster of just what is going on, question marks. I'm sure everyone at home is questioning the Lifeweaver too.
Well, it's tough when we haven't seen a whole lot of Lifeweaver to make great assessments on if this is going to be the best look for the Vegas Eternal. But I still have a lot of questions about how far away those supports are required to play in order to get value, and if that's even the right choice to help this Ramatra from 2U. I would have liked to see a bit more of the Brig BAP or even the Lucio BAP, just something to keep themselves more in the mix in that front line.
See if Vegas can keep themselves in the mix. Will we get a game 5? Will Vegas force that again? Didn't work so well yesterday, but London want to shut down this series, so we'll find out what happens on Esperanza coming up next. It's match point for the London Spitfire after a win on Gibraltar. And yeah, they kept going with the rush. They never give up. And the Sim TP allowed them to cycle well, rotate well, backbone, Maywall, keep it to you, trap. You saw that solo shatter. That was mean.
That was super mean. We've heard the London Spitfire call the Ramacher rush the poor man's rush. And that feels like kind of more of like a Robin Hood thing that 2U's trying to pull off here. I don't really know, but it's not working, sadly. And I think a lot of that too is unfortunately how London Spitfire ended up playing around the Lifeweaver pick coming out from Rack Attack. There are a lot of obvious reasons why we don't see Lifeweaver in the Overwatch League meta right now. It has a giant hitbox. The ultimate feels very lackluster in comparison to the other support ultimates that we have available in this meta right now. Looking at the sound barrier, the amplification matrix finds a ton of value, but that Lifeweaver ult, I wish we could have seen a bit more of that. I'm glad we got a bit of a sample size to look out though for the Lifeweaver. And in theory, it does make sense against London's comp.
Speaking of London, let's talk about Landon because he didn't have to swap his support. Great posture so far, but also in the game. Well-placed amplification matrix, immortalities to save Hottie in these dangerous situations. If Hottie's gonna be crazy, you need a crazy support to go along for the ride. And he's prevented 2 deaths, which is important. When you lose Hottie, you pretty much lose the fight.
I think both of those are Hottie. Yeah. I think you'd be right about that one. But may as well save it for that in particular, because you're right. Hottie is the playmaker. Hottie is the person at the front of all of the action. And you fall one by one if Hottie is not alive and available for this. But Landon also has impressive DPS output on the Baptiste as well. He's got great mechanical skill, so it isn't even about his short reaction time to be able to get those immortality fields out, or even just get the exo boots to help boost him up into the air to get away to safety. But it also is about his quick reaction time in between like healing and DPS.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did not have notes for Lifeweaver today. Was not thinking we were cooking to this extreme. I gotta go and interview like one of the unranked to GM Lifeweaver only streamers. There's a ton that attempted it. I think maybe only 1 or 2 that actually successfully did it, because everyone in our chat is trying to figure out what is the actual reason that you're getting Lifeweaver. And Rack Attack is clearly using the grip to save people, but it's the ultimate that is lackluster, right? And I'm starting to notice 2U losing that tank duel because of just a little bit less healing that you're getting. And we'll see if that will make a difference on Esperanza. Will we see more Lifeweaver? Find out.
I'm gonna guess not.
Hopefully, anyway.
I'm gonna hope not, for the sake of Vegas. They've been doing great. They've been really keeping up with London Spitfire, and that's not something that many teams can say right now. And so I really appreciate the creativity that they're putting into this map, but I just wonder if Lifeweaver is the right choice when we've seen the Lucio, the Brig, just anything else that gives you more point presence fare much better, versus the inconsistency that you see from the Lifeweaver and what it's supposed to do with the pulls that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'm hoping Rack Attack goes Lucio. I think just the speed and momentum that you need on this map is so critical. And usually on control or push maps is where you're going to see Lucio the most, just especially for your rush, so you're able to close the gap a lot easier. London may even incorporate the Symmetra to ease that even more, especially taking control of these top bridges on Esperanza. But the rush battle between these 2 teams has been so close, from Busan to Numbani. See if we go to game 5, or are we ending it here?
Looks like it's going to be the Lucio and the Baptiste for both of these teams, but Knife once again going to come out on one of those hit scans. The Sojourn going to be the DPS of choice, as Sparker's sticking to the Symmetra. Another way to try to get the upper hand onto the Vegas Eternal. These Symmetra teleporters have been very good, but Vegas haven't fallen victim to that. And especially with Rack Attack being on the Lucio, what an easy way to pivot around.
Well, I might have seen Sparker stay on that bridge. I'm not sure if he was trying to debate the same way he did on Gibraltar, and London were trying to hide to kind of fake out which direction they were going to engage from, as Hottie tried to go for a pin to see if he can get the trade, but Vegas are finishing them off, and that'll be the initial progress for Vegas.
And what a fast hero swap coming out from Sparker. Symmetra to the Hanzo, try to get a little bit more DPS on the board. The Symmetra is good, but it's also really difficult to keep it up when you aren't on the attacking side. You don't get a chance to actually set up those turrets to really help out, and Sparker has a long list of accomplishments with those Symmetra turrets and how many people he's been able to pick off, but the Hanzo even more so, much more consistent.
Sparker gets his revenge. Great headshot onto Knife, who has had a good time charging off his Sojourn shots off the Rhine shield, but this time not able to jump away. Sparker even with a second pick. This is definitely the better hero for Sparker.
Going to be much better for that long-range damage as well. Instead of just having the Symmetra beam try to charge off of the shield of the Ramatra, this is going to give you a lot more room to work with when Hadi's just going to charge into the rest of the team. Get that space immediately from those Reinhardt charges, but Vegas are coming back pretty quickly, and they've got the amplification matrix and the blizzard. That blizzard came online so fast here for Vegas.
Oh, the Amp Matrix Fire Strike. Hadi died for it though. He died of a heart attack. He just exploded. Look at Sparker though, still utilizing some of the Amp Matrix here. He has to angle himself differently because of Vegas taking cover. 2 picks for Sparker. The same double kill he got in the previous fight to win that for London. Backbone is just throwing a blizzard on top of Finale's Ice Block, who is the only one there, by the way. So kinda BM.
I'm gonna chalk that up to stall coming through, just to be able to get some time for Hadi to come back into things, you know, just force the rest of the Vegas Eternal back. But in all seriousness, Hadi gets a chance to come back with the Earth Shatter, and London Spitfire aren't too far away from matching the progress of the Vegas Eternal. They've got to come back into this one, and with not everybody there.
Oh, 2U is barely being healed back up, and at least the Blizzard from Finale helped 2U out when he got shattered there by Hadi. That rack attack really close to a sound barrier too, ahead of Admiral. This could be the momentum engage that Vegas needs. But that headshot from Finale onto landed, and Admiral dead too. That was unnecessary, to be honest. The Annihilation too, there was only like 2 or 3 people left from London without healing. I don't think Vegas needed that.
I think it's more of an insurance policy. Is look at how close London Spitfire were to being able to take the lead over Vegas. And this far forward and that close to the checkpoint, Vegas would much rather throw everything that they have available at that to ensure that London Spitfire don't capture it. Also, you know, checking the economy too. London had already thrown so much out there that Vegas would not expect them to have much else left in the tank for this next engage. When Knife has the overclock online, just make sure that you can full send it.
Vegas only have a lead by 1 meter. It'll be up to Knife if he takes control of this bridge. Sparker doesn't check that with a Sonic or something. This overclock could be what turns the tables. Vegas are forcing London to this back corridor as London are trying to close the gap, but Knife on the Soldier means he can reposition so far away. Well, speaking of which, Hadi pins Irony down all the way across the field as London try to heal him at range, and of course add additional damage support with the amplification matrix. Now you got the Admiral Soundbeard, and that'll guarantee the fight win there for London as Vegas will have to leave.
And Irony is stuck behind the team right now. There's a little bit of a quick swap over as Vegas just start to walk across that high ground, but Hadi has an Earth Shatter again.
Did the Blizzard come out? It did. Finale didn't get shattered out of it, so that'll slow London down and even kill Hadi. You're left with a 4v4, but a tank still remaining for Vegas. Backbone uses the Maywall defensively. London know they have to play their lives. You don't want to get staggered out and give too much more of a lead to Vegas with 5 minutes left. Oh, Vegas are now getting staggered. They know where London are hiding. 2U's pushing up, but without Irony, 2U's in big trouble. He's only 80 HP, and here comes the Admiral Army.
Admiral leading the charge there with the Lucio. Nice follow-up. Now London get a chance to walk this bot over that line, grab the lead, and potentially the checkpoint too. Vegas are really far away, and they're not going to want to walk back into this one without all 5 members available. So that should be the checkpoint captured. Vegas right around the corner to set back up for the defense as the bot enters into a bit of a reprieve.
2U and friends playing this corner. Annihilation. Do you save? Do you wait for the sound barrier to just make sure that 2U can live? And Irony's been picked off more than usual too, so 2U has been suffering in that tank duel. London did retake the lead, and they got forward spawn, and Knife finds a headshot on the Sparker while I think he was on the high ground. Either way, Backbone waits for Vegas to push forward so he can place the Blizzard on top, but Vegas may just play this corner, play their lives until the right ultimates come up. Even an Ant Matrix could be committed there from Irony once this May wall comes down as Finale exposes himself, and right at his feet is a Blizzard well placed there by Backbone, and the Dragon Strike from Sparker to divide the fight for Vegas and to ensure that they go down even with the sound bear rack attack that brings them back up. Despite that huge investment of ultimates from London, Vegas only lose Finale. What a turnaround, what patience from Vegas.
That was a great execution on just those few ultimates that Vegas had. And now they get a chance to hold on to the Blizzard of their own. The Annihilation as well. That's a great ultimate to be able to have when Vegas have been able to capitalize on that so much. It's just Admiral Soundbearer now for London Spitfire to keep the lead. And Vegas are getting so close. And look at this open territory that London Spitfire have to walk into.
Hottie got Maywalled off too. He seems to be doing okay. Behind though is Knife, who's not even popping the overclock. And now he does, now that he's at a safe distance with the Sounder, the Admiral Army comes marching forward, zones out Knife, who's too scared to use his overclock. Meanwhile, London shift their focus to the front lines of Vegas, who try to slow them down with the Blizzard. Hottie will be frozen here in a second, and Vegas punish everyone around Hottie while he holds the shield. And Vegas are just manipulating these fights so well.
It's all about those Maywalls coming in from Finale. And every single time one is available, you're able to get the follow-up there with Rack Attack. This is why the Lucio is so much better for the Rush versus Rush. When you're able to micro-maneuver around all of these threats on the London Spitfire. But Vegas have to back up from this now.
And Sparker went from like carrying London with back-to-back multi-kill fights to finally saving London before Vegas get any further than 80 meters. That is still a significant lead that London have to overcome with only 2 minutes.
They've got to win 2 team fights in a row here to take the lead. They have a lot of value to work with. They unlock the forward spawns once again as that bot moves over the midway point. And Landon has the amplification matrix just as a zoning tool. If London Spitfire are able to move around this corridor, you could pop that down on the corner and start to get those shots. Sparker with a great pick.
Yeah, and he climbed up to the window thinking maybe Irony was setting up for an Ant Matrix. I'm not sure if that was the thought, but killing Irony kills that fight for Vegas. So that's that one fight down, and you see the finish line. That is the lead swap in favor of London. The Ant Matrix is to stop Vegas from contesting. It works out. The Fire Strike hits Rack Attack, and Tuyu is dead. So the lead goes back in favor of London with 1 minute left.
They only needed the Ant Matrix there, so they held on to 3 critical ultimates. They also were able to force out some of those defensive cooldowns from Vegas, such as the Maywall, and of course the Sojourn is being able to just keep everybody away. But then those are down. Hottie able to kind of punch through with the Reinhardt. Oh my. They have a lot of momentum here. 40 seconds remaining. London Spitfire could just go ahead and walk this in.
Yeah, Vegas, 37 seconds. They have almost 5 ults, though, if they want a momentum push, but they got to cycle well, and Hottie is already shattered, too. Rack Attack brings them back to life with the Sound Bear, but the Blizzard layered on top. Vegas might not be able to survive to even turn the scoreline around. London won't make this a game 5. At least they tried. The Tuyu Annihilation was the extra investment Vegas needed to just buy themselves another fight.
Annihilation into the Maywall when London Spitfire have that at their backs. And now the Vegas Eternal have the ultimate economy to work with to be able to get this through and take the lead back from the London Spitfire. But it's still 2 more fights that Vegas Eternal need to win in order to bring this into a 5th and final map of the series. But Finale is the Blizzard. Vegas have unlocked those forward spawns, but it's all onto Knife and Finale to be able to clutch this out in the moment.
Yeah, the best case scenario is Knife hitting a headshot, that first pick without needing ultimates. Finale throws the Blizzard. Did it? Yes, it still went off. Hottie is frozen. Arrow is there with the Sound Bearer, and Knife is having issues getting heals during the overclock. He put good damage in, but it's just so tough against the Sound Bearer, and Tuyu doesn't have enough heals to stay on the card, and the London Spitfire make work of Vegas on Esperanza, turning the lead at the last minute for London to take the 3-1 victory and keep Vegas Eternal winless in the stage.
What a tough road that Vegas Eternal have had to walk down in this stage. They made some impressive adjustments to really keep London Spitfire on their toes and, quite frankly, make this series very close. A series that we were expecting to go pretty confidently in the way of the London Spitfire. So hats off to Vegas for continuing to make those adjustments, but London Spitfire with their brute force on the Reinhardt rush, still a huge force to be reckoned with.
And the tank battle was just what was so entertaining. We were the desk. Everyone is questioning who can outrush the Rush Kings. And we started to see some evidence of Vegas, especially Tuyu, who was one of the most prominent Rush tank players coming from APAC, just signed to Vegas, who have made huge improvements. But no matter what Tuyu did, London had the recipe, the solution to shut him down. So, of course, your player of the match, it's Chatty.
How could you not give it to Chatty for those moments when the Reinhardt versus Ramatra is such a tail-old battle when it comes down to which is going to get the upper hand? But Potty had some amazing moments. I think this first highlight is just one of several where the Reinhardt was able to save the day with those shields, just blocking off so much healing coming through from Rack Attack and Irony. And also the fire strikes, whether it was through the amplification matrix or not, the pins into the back line of Vegas, absolutely no fear for the German Hammerman.
That fire strike got Tuyu solo, killed Rack Attack before the sound barrier could come out. That is what won London the map. Of course, Sparker, you know, hitting multi-kills every now and then is cute and all, but Patty's your player of the match, of course. And I think Vegas could have turned that fight around. The sound barrier and a bunch of ultimates were coming up, but Potty, also the three-man shatter on Numbani was what shut down the Vegas attack from snowballing into something more deadly. So London put up a good show, and Chatty is still one of the best Reinhardts we have.
There are very few Reinhardts that can hold a candle to that one. That is for sure. And it's also just a team effort, being able to play around the Reinhardt, right? Hadi can do anything that he does without the support of his team as well. And that's just the well-oiled machine that you've come to expect out of the London Spitfire. They finally found their groove, Lemon Key. They finally found it. I want to see how far they can take that.
They're just sticking to the rush no matter what map it is. That'll bring London to a 4-match win streak. They were in 11th, and they could be putting themselves in a position to take a play-in spot from any of our bottom middle of the pack teams. London are on fire, and we're looking forward to hearing from the Watchpoint desk and also an interview coming up, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome to our game break, everyone. Zoe here, joined by Danny, Jake, and Reinforce. You apparently don't have a first name anymore. I'm so used to calling you Reinforce. Yeah, that's it.
I'm happy
Johnny.
to move on.
Right,
Yeah, just call me
Reinforce.
John at this point. Yeah.
Reinforce?
No, he's just Johnny. Reinforce is now Johnny, rebranded.
It worked, Danny.
Right there!
It did work. And it will again, I feel. London Spitfire
Scary
will
team.
carry on that momentum, and they have a long break as well. Their next match is going to be against the LA Valiant at the end of August.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, like they have a long break now to just chillax.
Got a bit of a break,
They're
season
ending
6.
it on a high note as well.
I feel like-
They give them a run for the money.
At the same time, though, if I'm London Spitfire, I don't want to break right now. I want to keep this momentum and keep
going.
knocking teams over before they have time to like think about what to do. Like I think London, I don't know how much better they're going to get at their strats. Whereas I think other teams having more time to innovate and try to come up with
But
their
maybe
counter
this
strats
is
actually probably benefits the others more.
Out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to see
That's
another
true.
Rhine comp, so they probably won't be bothered to prep for it. So maybe
But other teams, I mean, London's going to keep scrimming, right? And other teams are going to scrim against London. And since London has no match opponent, they'll probably scrim everyone except maybe Valiant, like their first opponent back. But that's going to give other teams opportunities, I think, to understand the comp a little bit better and maybe come up with their own strat. So I think for London,
the
it's going to
solution
be
is
a
don't
question of
scrim.
if they can keep it going after the break. That's
no
my
to all
only
the
point.
Yeah, say no to scrims, London.
Just don't scrim, guys. Like,
Don't
don't
scrim
let, like,
anymore.
they can only, I mean, unironically, that, like, there's, like, a case to be made to just chill and
I mean, season 6 drops August 10th, right? And
Get on
who knows
that,
what will be in that. But I'm scared if I'm not a Spitfire. That's just part of the Overwatch League experience. There's going to be meta changes, there's going to be balance changes, the game's going to evolve, and like how will that impact your ability? So yes, Jake is completely right. Like if you're on a Spitfire right now, you don't want any changes, you don't want any breaks. Like you just want to keep grinding out this, especially right now.
It's working.
But so yeah, I mean, at least they gave themselves a chance to qualify for the play-ins at the end of the season, and when they get back from this break, we'll see how the standings turn out with teams like Toronto Defiant, New York Excelsior, for example. But the London Spitfire are at least in a really good position now to make the play-ins after this little win streak they had here to begin the summer stage. So this series against the Vegas Eternal, we saw Lifeweaver. It was all over the place. Jake, I will give you all the honors to explain what they really tried to pull off here because it was something to witness.
I mean, this is the first time we've seen like a legitimate usage of Lifeweaver, and honestly, I do want to say for Vegas that there's like a theory here that makes sense to me, right? I think the concept is that with this Ramatra comp, you're typically winning the neutral when you're just poking out the enemy Rhine, grinding him down, and just slowly breaking his shield and killing him, draining them of resources. The really scary moments for the Rhine comp are when Blizzard's available, when Rhine hits a pin, when Rhine hits a shatter. These are the moments where you're actually really struggling against Rhine comp, and Lifeweaver's pull is like in theory a potential counter to those, right? You're getting frozen by the mail and Lifeweaver just pulls you out. I still think Kiriko is just a better choice. Just cleanse the stuns, let the players fight it out for themselves, because I think especially the Mei wall just blocks the pull in a lot of situations. It's not all that consistent of a save, so I'm still not really a believer in the Lifeweaver just yet. Not a Weaver believer, you might say, but I do think there's a theory of the case here that it's not like a completely absurd pick for me. I mean, watching it, I could see they have a concept here, right?
It actually looked competitive. It was a map that looked competitive featuring Lifeweaver.
Yeah.
Credit to them in that regard.
Yeah, and I think because it
This
sort
is
of made
coming
sense.
from the biggest Lifeweaver hater.
Exactly. I think it's a very niche circumstance, but that's sometimes how Overwatch evolves. People find that one map, one comp matchup where the hero really has a lot of potential, make hay out of it, and then who knows where it can go from there. I still think Lifeweaver. I still rather see Kiriko. Frankly, I think the cleanse is just a better save.
More Lifeweaver from different teams now when you're going against a Rhine Rush.
Like I think it might literally be like Gibraltar against the London Spitfire.
Don't push it, Danny. Don't push it,
I'm still
Danny.
suspicious of the hero. I think it still needs better stats. I think it still needs just a little bit more raw buffs. But there's a thought there, right? There's like these certain high CC ultimates that pull kind of somewhat counters, but it's not consistent yet. And I don't know if it will be, honestly, with stuff like Mei that's blocking the pull. I mean, that you're just shut down. So.
How do we feel generally about the Vegas Eternal? I mean, yesterday that was quite brutal to watch. Today they do look improved.
Well, okay, so they did go to map 5 against Valiant. They did look better against Boston Uprising a couple of weeks ago. That's when Knife had that like breakout game.
Yeah.
They did look quite good in the Brawl Mirror against the London Spitfire today. They won control, of course, and they kept it close even on the Bonnie, right? So as much as you want to meme about like the Vegas Eternal, not you specifically, Zoe, but in general, like meme about their losing streak and how bad it's going, like they are actually like putting up decent performances. They're not getting the wins, but they are looking better. And I think at least now we're in a position here in the summer stage where every match there's a small belief that they'll actually win, that this will be the first win. And honestly, in the spring qualifiers, for a large part of those matches, we're just like, well, this is going to be a stomp. Like, there's no way Vegas can win. At least now they're giving themselves a chance, so they are improving.
I mean, they were this close yesterday. Like, it was really coming down to
They were like on the ground getting kicked, and now they're like starting to stand up and fight back.
So you gotta kick harder.
Thrown a real. I mean, they threw a punch at Valiant, you could say, but even
I just need Rack Attack to get a win this season from like.
Do it for Rack Attack.
Just please, I'm rooting for you, Rack Attack. Please get that one win.
We're all desperate, actually.
We're all desperate for them. Yeah, but improvements are there. Matt and Uber would say the talent is there, so let's see what they can do for the rest of the season. For now, though, we do want to chat with the winners. So we have no other than Backbone on the big screen from the London Spitfire. Congratulations, another W on the board.
Thank you.
All right, Backbone, I mean, this was, despite the 3-1 score, I do also believe that Vegas did put up a good fight. Like, what was the London Spitfire's game plan going into today's match? Was it just business as usual, just pull out the Ryan rush, or did you guys have something in mind before going into the match?
Didn't really have anything special in mind. Like, we're just going in and playing our game again, I think Vegas are a better team than people give them credit for. With the new roster, I don't think they're the worst team in the league anymore. I think there's 1 or 2 teams that are definitely worse than them.
Call them out, say the names.
I'm not going to name them. Nope.
Are they playing the next match?
I am not going to name them.
No comment.
But yeah, so it was never going to be super easy, and I think they played pretty well. I think we didn't play great, but yeah.
So I want to ask specifically about the Lifeweaver pick on Gibraltar. I was just defending it a little bit on broadcast, just saying, I think there's a thought there, right? The potential to save people from Blizzard and Shatter. There's like a potential there, and Gibraltar is a highly vertical map where maybe there's something there. I don't think it's quite there yet, but how did you feel going into that match? You see the Lifeweaver, you guys are probably like, wait, what is going on there at first? And so how did you respond to that as the map went on? Was there adaptations that went in, or was it just kind of not working that well for them?
We actually scrimmed a little bit of Weaver this week against a contender team we've been playing against. So it wasn't something we've had 0 playtime against, but every time we saw it in scrims, we were kind of like, no one's gonna play it now anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think it definitely caught us off guard on Gib for a bit, but I mean, we still managed to win the map, and I think even just during the 5-minute break between maps, we figured out how we want to play against it in future. So it's not anything I'm scared of. It's not anything that we're worrying about. It's not Weaver breaks the Ryan comp or anything like that. Like I don't think it's not troll, but it's not game winning.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I would hope for a potential bone back Lifeweaver map at some point, but that's maybe way too far away. I did want to follow up on what you said to Danny earlier, that you didn't feel like you played your best in this series against the Vegas Eternal. So it's quite funny actually, because since you are like really only the only Reinhardt team in the league, there's no one you can really compare yourself to. So I'm going to ask you to sort of rate your own gameplay. If you had to, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your own kind of like potential with this Reinhardt composition, how much do you feel like you're there when it comes to like perfectionism? Do you think you can improve upon this composition, or do you feel like you're pretty capped out, you're playing really good right now, you're feeling really good about your own play?
I think there's always room to improve on it. I mean, like even just one hero swap changes up a bunch of different things. We've got all these different ways we play, and you swap one hero, and then there's suddenly a bunch of different ways we play, and then one scrim will find out an entirely new way to play, and then we'll move that from one map to the other. Like I don't think we're anywhere near finding the limit. Like I think we're definitely closer to the limit than we're not, but I don't think we're near it yet. I think we still keep steadily improving. Like I don't think we're quite there yet.
So you're looking at a quite big break now, actually, until your next match is coming up. Do you feel like that is going to be an issue? Would you prefer to continue riding the momentum right now, or is the break a welcoming sight?
I think Ryan's better on next patch. Ryan buff, Sim buff. Who else knows what's coming? So I think we're okay with it. I think I'd rather at least get the Valiant game out of the way now and not risk them somehow getting a perfect patch for them that makes it easy for them to win, but I don't think we're that worried about it. We're just gonna see what happens. Maybe something else will be OP next patch and Ryan won't be playable, who knows.
I feel like no matter what comes in the patch, you guys are going to play Ryan regardless and just see if we can make it work.
Yeah, probably.
That is the likely scenario, and that's what we love, the London Spitfire. Backbone, thank you so much for the quick chat, and have a great break.
Thank you.